Good afternoon to you. I'm Danilo Evangelista, and welcome to today's tropical weather outlook for June 7th, 2026. It is Sunday, and today we are going to be talking about a tropical storm which is headed for Mexico within the next day here. Tropical Depression 2E has officially formed in the Pacific, and it is going to make landfall here in Mexico very soon. It is going to be a weak system, but it is still going to bring impacts, and we're going to go over what those impacts are as we go on throughout today's discussion. So I hope you enjoy what you see today. I hope you find what I talked to you about today informative. Let's get started by taking a look at the National Hurricane Center bulletin right now. And you can see we have quite a bit of activity here in the Pacific. Things continue to heat up. We now have our second tropical depression of the season here, Tropical Depression 2E. Maximum sustained winds at 35 miles per hour, minimum central pressure at 1,005 millibars. And this came from what was Invest 91E here just yesterday, and it was able to quickly enough organize into a tropical depression today. But then this is going to be very short-lived, as this will quickly move inland into Mexico here tomorrow. And then to the southeast of it, we have Invest 92E. And this too will also be a threat that we need to watch potentially for the Mexico and Central American coastline here, and will also bring significant impacts as well, even though more than likely it'll stay weak here. Here's a satellite shot of the Pacific and the Atlantic right now. Obviously not much happening in the Atlantic, but in the Pacific here, you can see we have two areas of rotation. One of them, Tropical Depression 2E, and the other one is Invest 92E, I should say. And one thing you'll notice is that both of these areas are broad, so that should probably already give you the idea that we are not going to see a strong storm out of either of them. But still, this is generally kind of wrapped up here in this monsoon trough in the Eastern Pacific. And, both of these systems as well are going to bring lots of rainfall. And the general pattern associated with both of these systems are going to bring lots of rainfall here to Central America, which is the main impact, as I'll go over here in a little bit. And I don't want to diminish the fact that there will be a lot of rainfall, because that is a major impact and will have major implications to people, which is obviously the biggest focus of the discussion here and warning you about these systems, is that it's going to impact people. And likely in a pretty significant way, even if it's not going to be strength-wise. Here's a closer-up image of Tropical Depression 2E, once again kind of highlighting the broad nature of this. We already have some showers and thunderstorms already making their way onshore into Mexico right now along the Mexican coastline. And again, this is going to be something that will very briefly happen. It'll come in tomorrow. In fact, I'll show you with the model track guidance here. Pretty much almost all of the model guidance already has this system in and onshore on the coast within the next 24 hours, at least from now till the 18Z, at least, initialized as of 18Z today. So 2 o'clock Eastern time, along the U.S. coast. So I guess you could assume that by 2 o'clock Eastern time tomorrow, this should probably be making its way inland, if not already inland. And then taking a look at the official National Hurricane Center track, already by 6 a.m. Monday tomorrow, I believe this is Pacific time, they're actually forecasting this to be a tropical storm and making landfall at that time. So again, kind of highlighting here the fact that we have a very short, window in which this will really develop. So this is going to be more than likely a weak tropical storm. But, obviously, given the fact that we are going to see a tropical storm here, tropical storm warnings are up for a part of the coastline here for Mexico. But the biggest impact, as I said before, will not be the wind. There's going to be some gusty wind here. We're probably going to see strengthening to 40, 45 miles per hour. So obviously that will bring some gusty wind. And maybe there might be some power outages from that, but again, probably isolated. But the biggest impact is going to be the rainfall, and that's actually the number one key message here that the National Hurricane Center has highlighted for Tropical Depression 2E, and I really like these key messages that the National Hurricane Center has been doing. It's probably been a few years now, maybe longer, but the number one key message that they want you to take away from, and I think it is an important key message, heavy rainfall associated with Tropical Depression 2E will impact portions of southern Mexico. This rainfall is likely to produce life-threatening flooding and mudslides, especially in areas of steep terrain. And just how much rainfall are we expecting? Well, here's the official forecast from the Weather Prediction Center, their international desk. Kind of interesting that the Weather Prediction Center has an international desk, but yeah, a lot of rainfall here, especially right along the coastline. Many areas could potentially see up to half a foot of rain. And in fact, there are some isolated pockets here along the coastline of Mexico that could potentially see up to a foot of rain in some localized areas. And this is just going to be over the next 3 days here. And if I have any viewers in Mexico and don't really know the inches scale here, 8 to 12 inches, so up to a foot of rain generally means up to 200 to 300 millimeters of rain, which is a lot of rain. And again, it's definitely going to have its impacts in terms of mudslides and flooding, and especially in a country like Mexico, given the terrain and also the general, socioeconomic situation that I'm sure many people are in Mexico. Rainfall and flooding is definitely not very helpful situation, and we're still going to see that with Tropical Depression 2E, and it'll definitely have its impacts, even though this is probably going to be a very weak system and probably not be much more than just a very quick, weak tropical storm here. So lots to keep in mind over the next day. And obviously as well, we'll be watching 92E here as it'll also move onshore, very likely into Central America or Mexico. I'll show you the model here in just a little bit. But really quickly, taking a satellite shot of the Atlantic right now, nothing happening in the Atlantic just yet. Obviously, we are watching to see how the situation unfolds here, especially with our depressions and our disturbances here in the Pacific, as they will definitely help kick off this Central American gyre pattern here, which is also going to contribute to the rainfall over Central America and Mexico over the next several days. But obviously as well, we are watching to see whether or not this energy in the Pacific is able to lift northward and potentially make things interesting in the Gulf here this upcoming week. And to show you how that all happens, let's take a look at the models, the 12Z GFS, and let's run through it really quickly. And first of all, you could see, again, just how quickly 2E moves in to Mexico here already by tomorrow afternoon. And there's actually a frame missing here. For some reason, the hour 30 frame is missing, whatever. But definitely by tomorrow evening, Tropical Depression 2E will already be inland. And then we will have more than likely, Tropical Depression 3E, or, Christina, because the next name on the list here in the Pacific is Boris. So 2E will likely get Boris if it gets named, and then whatever ends up, getting named here will likely be Christina. And the GFS does an interesting thing here where we see this consolidate probably by tomorrow. So more than likely here by tomorrow, we will have yet another tropical cyclone in the Pacific. And then it kind of stalls it off the coast here and actually indicates that it'll strengthen and potentially move west here and target Mexico once again. And that happens here within the next 5 days. And whatever happens here will definitely be more than just a weak reef system that moves onshore very quickly, like soon to be Boris will. But I kind of doubt this solution here, and I'll really quickly show you what the European shows. And the European is definitely much more on the boat of something moving very quickly inland as well with 92E, just like how Tropical Depression 2E is acting. And then obviously, as you can see, once we get into late next week, whatever energy is left of 92E or whatever disturbance will be down here will then make it into the Gulf. And I guess there will still be enough energy left. That's something we'll try here. And let's go back to the GFS and see how they show that. And they also kind of show that too, although they mainly show a broad low pressure associated with, the general fact that this is going to be a part of the gyre here. All of this, activity that we're seeing in the Pacific, and the general weather pattern over Central America here over the next few days will be kind of influenced by the Central American gyre, and then that will lift northward into the Gulf over the next week. Definitely will cause a very broad system here with lots of moisture lifting northward, but obviously with that comes the risk of tropical development in the Gulf. So lots to keep tabs on in the tropics here over the next several days. So we're going to be monitoring the tropics very closely here. But if you are in Mexico, especially if you are in Acapulco and that, southeastern coast region of Mexico where this thing is coming in, just stay put for the rest of the day today, as you'll probably be dealing with a lot of heavy rain and occasional gusty winds, but it's not going to be anything too significant, at least from the wind standpoint. Again, the biggest impact is going to be the rain. But that's going to do it for today's tropical weather outlook. Not much else happening beyond that, so we're going to end it off here. Hope you guys have a great rest of your weekend and a great rest of your Sunday. Stay tuned for another tropical update coming tomorrow, as we will continue to do these updates every single day here throughout the hurricane season. Again, thank you for watching. I'll talk to you guys again tomorrow.